Three more here. And now in the lightweight division once again, Justin, the highlight Gaethje takes on Max Blessed Holloway. Wow, wow, wow. And this is for the UFC BMF title, which seems to only be a lightweight title so far. Unless Max wins it and then defends it at featherweight. I don't know. Who knows how it's going to work. I think they're just kind of making it up as they go along with this
100%.
whole BMF thing.
100%.
But either way, both of these guys are deserving of this title, but they only have one belt right now. So we have Justin Gaethje, 25-4 as a pro. Max Holloway, 25-7 as a pro. Max Holloway, of course, the former UFC featherweight world champ, one of the greatest, if not the greatest featherweight of all time, arguably. Obviously, there's a couple other guys in consideration for that title. Justin Gaethje, the former UFC interim lightweight world champ. So here we go. Mark, started off this time. Give us the odds and your take. Inch pick.
So Gaethje's the favorite. He's minus 175. Max is the dog at plus 140. It actually was significantly wider. Some money's been coming in on Max that shrunk this line. The height is the same. There is a 1-inch reach advantage for Gaethje. And I have zero interest in picking this fight. I don't know how to do it. I've changed my mind 50 times. Every time I change it, I hold on to a point that convinces me I'm sure that I'm on the right guy now. And then 5 minutes later, I come up with a new point and I change it again. So, yeah, it's fucking hard. Justin Gaethje is arguably in the best form of his entire career right now. He's fighting smarter. He's making in-fight adjustments better than he ever has. Like, just look at these last two fights with Fiziev and Gaethje, how he handled them. He is the career lightweight, obviously, going into this against a career featherweight. He carries the bigger power. He's the bigger finisher. Of course, he's going to rip Max's skinny little legs. There is a lot in the corner of Justin Gaethje, and it's really easy to look at it and say, like, yeah, of course Justin Gaethje is gonna take this fight, and that's where I was at initially, if I'm being honest. But the more I broke it down, there's kind of a lot on Max's side. Also, he's faster. I think he's the better boxer. His chin is made of absolute iron. I lean more toward trusting him in the later rounds if this gets that far. Justin has only been to round 5 once, and it was against Tony, who he was drubbing, so it's not like his cardio was necessarily tested there. Max has been there 9 times, and in 8 of his last 9 fights, so he basically lives in rounds 4 and 5. And maybe most importantly, Max has truly sized up for this fight. This ain't the Poirier fight, where he came up as a featherweight to fight Dustin Poirier, and the power was really the differentiator in that fight. Everything else was pretty close. It's just that Dustin was landing with more impact. He has truly sized up now and become a lightweight for this fight. And not to mention, I've already kind of felt like he's been upping his power on his shots a bit recently. I actually remember making this point back when he fought Zombie. It's noticeable. He seems to be hitting harder. So now with the weight, it may even be harder than that. At the same time, he got hit a lot in that Zombie fight, which bothers me. And that is far from the recipe for winning against Justin Gaethje. But we've seen guys stand up to Gaethje's power. Like Chandler stood up to it. Fiziev stood up to it. Dustin has, obviously, a head kick is its own deal. But aside from that, in their fight and a half, Dustin has. And I don't see any reason we should assume that Max Holloway, who's never even been dropped, can't also stand up to it. So, long story short, with all of that said, that's why I find this fight impossible to pick, because I can convince myself of either guy. I think I could list 5 different adjustments they could each make right now that allows them to win this fight. Across 10 fights, I think it's 5-5. It's one of those. But I'm going to go with freaking Max Holloway. I think he is going to be the one finishing exchanges, and it's going to make the difference. Like, I can see Justin stepping in for a 1-2 or a punch calf kick combo, and Max is responding with up to 3 and 4, and it's 3 and 4 that land as they're separating, and Justin is already done with his combo. And I could just see him scoring a little bit more that way. And I also could really see him take rounds 4 and 5, which means he would only need one of the earlier rounds, because I don't think Justin's going to stop him. So give me Max Holloway to win a UD.
Wow. Okay, Omar.
Yeah. I don't want to pick this fight. This fight makes me sad. Makes me sad on all fronts. I just like Mark. This fight can go a lot of different ways. Um, I think for me, what it really came down to was the power of Justin Gaethje, and it's not to say that Max Holloway doesn't have that same type of can't crack obviously, but Justin Gaethje doesn't really have soft shots for the most part, and even when he puts volume together, he's putting. Sometimes he has to chill out in that fight because he puts so much behind his shots. And Max Holloway doesn't really have that problem. He paces himself relatively well. Um, he hits hard, obviously, but he's not putting everything behind those shots. Justin Gaethje has a way of doing that while throwing combinations, while still in motion, while still moving and defending, while slipping shots or rolling under. Like he's very, very good, man. Very good at cutting angles while still throwing power. And like Mark said, Max gets hit. And I'm not saying Max goes down. I'm not even saying Max gets knocked down in that fight. But I just feel like he gets tagged a lot more. And I just feel like the more the fight goes on, and if he keeps getting tagged the way I think he does, I think the fight's just going to get more difficult for him to come back from. So it really could go either way. I'm really not counting Max Holloway out of anything because you can't do that. But for the sake of picking a fight, I'm just going to go with Justin Gaethje by decision.
Yeah, tough one. And there's compelling points for Holloway, but I too am going to give the edge to Gaethje for I think what will still be a power differential in favor of the highlight. Yeah, I think he retains his BMF belt here, and yeah, I'll take Gaethje by UD with a good amount of damage landed against Holloway. And